My name is Eugenio and I'm an English Opens Doors program volunteer. When I was in university, I studied peace, war, and defense and Spanish language and literature. Before I came down to volunteer, I was actually working at Living Social, which is like an e-commerce website. And I was just doing merchant acquisition there, technically a sales role. And I don't know, I mean, I was happy with the job, but it didn't seem really fulfilled. So I decided to come over here and take my chances in South America. So I was placed in La Serena, and I was placed there for 4 months. So I actually heard about this program originally back in 2012. I had just been out of college for about 6 months, and I was working on the Obama campaign in Asheville, North Carolina. And I actually ended up talking and meeting with and working with a fraternity brother in Asheville, North Carolina, and he'd actually done this program in 2009. So pretty much while we were working on the campaign, he was telling me about his experience in Valpo, and how awesome it was. So from that moment, I had already had it somewhere in my mind that I was going to participate in the program, but it did take me 3 years before I actually did it. Honestly, the program blew my mind. It was beyond anything I could have expected. My host family was amazing. The school was amazing. They just received me with so much love, with arms wide open, and took me into their community. And I would never have expected that. And I guess I could have expected it being from a Latino community. I mean, we're very, very warm. I had just never lived in the country before, so I didn't know what to expect, but it was awesome. Honestly, my family thinks of me as their adopted son. I think of my host niece as my niece, and I'm hoping that they'll visit me in the States when I go back eventually. I never really had an issue, but I did know that Maria Cecilia, my local rep, was there and available at a moment's notice. When I emailed her, gave her a call, went to her office. She was right down the road. Once again, with you guys, you're super responsive, super professional, and I never had a fear that you wouldn't get back to me. So yeah, I feel like everything was up to standards. Everything was amazing, and if I did have an issue, I knew you guys would be able to take care of that for me. There's absolutely no way I would have been able to survive a classroom environment without the training. I think it gave us a structure to follow, gave us guidelines to follow, gave us key activities to do as well. But apart from that training, you had to dig deeper. You had to use your resources. I personally use other volunteers just to keep my energy up, to keep my activities diverse, and just make it as exciting as possible for the students. Although I would say they were very, very hyperactive, and they were hard to control, but otherwise it was a great experience. They were very loving, very warm to me. So yeah, honestly, it was a great experience overall. So before I came here, I actually had researched La Serena. La Serena and Coquimbo, one of them is a port city, the other one's a resort town. So I expected it was just gonna be sunshine and awesome beach weather 24/7, which once again, I did enjoy the beach a lot. It was very, very warm. It reminded me of the San Francisco weather where, if you're walking in the sun, it's very, very warm. But if you're in the shade, it's freezing cold. So apart from that, it was exciting. I love the atmosphere there. But apart from the beach, you also had the valley. And you had El Desierto Florido to the north, Isla Damas to the north. So there was just so much diversity in terms of geography and things to explore in Serena. They have Pisco Elqui, which is right outside of the city. You go do a tour of a brewery. And then also Gabriela Mistral is also from the area. So you can go check out her house. It's actually in Las Compañías in La Serena, or go to Vicuña, which is her hometown. And check out the museum there. So there was never a dull moment. There was always something to do. Fortunately for us, we also had a very tight-knit community. There were like 11 or 12 of us in Coquimbo and La Serena, so we hung out a lot. And I feel like that tight-knit community also helps you keep your energy up, keep your spirits up, no matter what was going on, whether it was your home situation or your school situation. So just having that support system there was also a great benefit. This is just funny, like all my friends I've met in Serena, they just say I'm mimado. I'm mimado because my host mom seriously does everything for me. She she'll be watching El Sultan at like 11:30 at night, and I'll just be walking, you know, into the living room. She's, hey, do you want something to eat? She'll cook me up something to eat. And one thing that I had to get used to was allowing her to do my laundry, allowing her to iron for me. Because for the first couple of weeks, I was doing my own like laundry and ironing. And then eventually, she's like, no, she's like, I'll take care of it. Or she'd just be like behind my shoulder, like, no, you're not ironing correctly. So then I just went ahead and just let her do everything from there. So yeah, they were very, very loving. My host sister was amazing. She was actually studying to be a English teacher and just received her title. So it was easy to communicate as well. Not only could I speak to them in Spanish, but if I didn't know anything, you know, a certain word or phrase in Spanish, we could always just switch to English, and it was perfectly fine. And once again, my host niece as well. Before I came here, even though I had told her multiple times I was just coming for the weekend, she was just freaking out because she thought I was going back to the States. So yeah, honestly, they're very loving. They call me their hermano from Gringolandia. So yeah, just fun. It's a great experience. Yeah, it was a very, very great experience. I think they're just so open and so warm to accepting new people into their community. There was never an instance where I felt, I guess, like negativity towards me for being an outsider. And it was just funny too, because considering that I'm Latino, I fit in. So I'll just walk down the street, or I'll be sitting at a restaurant, sitting at a bar, and they assume that I'm Chilean. So it's not really. I'm not like I don't stick out as much as some of the other volunteers until I speak Spanish, and then they're like, oh, where are you from in Mexico? And I'm just like, oh, well, I'm not really from Mexico. So yeah, honestly, they've been very, very warm, very opening, very accepting with open arms. So yeah, I think it's just been great overall. Luckily, I only worked with 5th to 8th grade girls. So these girls loved me as soon as I came in. I was one of the only male professors there, so I became like an instant favorite. And plus, it didn't hurt for me to play, you know, Justin Bieber and One Direction all the time. So they absolutely love that too. But yeah, I didn't have the typical problems that other people had. I think that they're very nice. They're very good girls. Yeah, and more. Apart from just being just disruptive, I didn't really have any issues. So if there were a few group of girls or whatever that were having an issue or talking in class, you know, very cliquey, I would just remove them from the situation and continue the class with the rest of my students. That's about as rough as I had it. It was just more of just being very talkative, being very disruptive, and it was just as easily solved as just removing them from the situation, and that was it. So yeah, I didn't really have any other issues besides that. It's the small things that they remember, that the girls remember. Whether it's like a lesson that I did, or whether they come in and they just out of left field say, you know, when I ask them, hey, how are you? And out of left field, they just say something crazy that I never even mentioned in class. And then one thing that was very touching for me in these last couple of days was we had all these convivencias with all the different classes. They were giving me a bunch of gifts. My teachers were giving me gifts. But one thing, the gift that I loved the most was that earlier in the year, I'd taken a group picture with a group of my girls. And at the end of the year, she came up to me and she's like, hey teacher, I have this present for you. And it was a framed photo of me and her that she had like cropped. It was just me and her. And then another really, I thought that was a strange gift was that another student actually gave me this statue of a basketball player, because during recreos I would play basketball with them all the time, and it was just this like little bronze statue of a basketball player, even though I'm not even the best basketball player, but still I guess it was one thing that they remember me by. So it's just awesome that they would just decide to buy me the statue of this basketball player. So just the little things that they remember, they attribute to me, and you know, those gifts just make it that much more special. I think that one of my biggest areas of improvement in terms of just as a person and professionally is sometimes I'm a little timid. So this put me out of my comfort zone, where you're standing in front of 15, 20 girls every single day. You have to be high energy, you have to pump them up, and you have to talk to them. You have to talk, and you have to be loud, you have to be energetic. And personally, that's always been an issue for me. Just getting in front of crowds and being able to, keep them in sync, keep them attentive. And I think that's one thing I'm gonna take away from this experience is being able to bring that energy, being able to command a classroom or command a room in general, and keep everyone engaged. So I think that's, in terms of area improvement, I think that's the best area that I improved upon. So I think the part that sticks out the most would have been these past couple of days, because when everyone's saying their goodbyes, even though I'm not technically leaving the country for who knows when, I don't know when I'm gonna leave, I think those moments where you're saying your goodbyes and you realize that this may be the last time you speak to someone, the last time you get to hang out with someone, you realize how many special moments you've had, and then you also get to really see how they truly feel about you. So just being with my host teachers these past couple of days, them giving me gifts, them really expressing how they truly feel about me and how appreciative they are about me being able to come to the country and teach. But then also my host family as well, because they've, once again, I've mentioned this before, they consider me their son, their brother, their uncle. So for me, just building those connections and building those lifelong connections is probably the most important and biggest part of the volunteer, of my participation in the volunteer program. Oh, my best lesson is definitely to rely on others, lean on others, because usually I'm kind of a lone wolf. I like to do things my own way, but in this type of position, you just really can't. You have to keep everything fresh. You have to keep everything new. And it took me a couple of weeks to realize that you have to lean on others, see what they're doing, see what their best practices are, and then just go from there. Incorporate them into your lesson plans. And I mean, it's all I can do is make them better. I think that'd be the biggest takeaway, is just to lean on others. So I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do. I don't see myself leaving for at least a couple more years. I've already just applied to extend, but I'm also in the process of applying to study at La U de Chile here in Santiago. So hopefully I will be here for at least another 2.5 years living in the country. Yeah, I believe if you have a passion for teaching, if you have a passion for Latin America, you can't go wrong with this program. It's been absolutely amazing. I've had a great time. I've spent time with really amazing people. I've made really amazing bonds, and this is an experience I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. I feel like that's the most important thing, just building those bonds and just creating really great memories for you to have for the rest of your life. Well, in terms of teaching, I would say just stay calm, breathe, relax. You learn as you go. We definitely do have a great benefit of doing the 1 week training. But once again, if it's not going well for you at first, keep trying different things until something clicks. And also rely on other people. Don't try to do this on your own, because there is a great network of people around you that will help you and support you during your program, the time of your program. And I think that's the greatest thing. That we're thrown into these communities, but at the same time there are other volunteers around. We have you guys here in Santiago. We have the local rep. So there's always someone there to help you if you are having issues or if you're struggling a little bit.